Hello and welcome to this week's special edition of CrowCast with me, Chris Borden.
Myself, Martin Willingham.
And today we're going to be talking about the PlayStation 2.
Yes, indeed. We're going to be, in this first episode, there's going to be two special half-hour long episodes. And I'll explain why in a minute. But in this episode, we're going to be talking about the history and the launch of the PS2, and then a little bit about what it means to us in the second part of this, which will be released next week.
Yes.
You will hear about our personal memories and what happened to the end of the PS2. What happened when the PS2 had to face its time to die.
Yeah, unfortunately, because it was a phenomenal console.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk as well about its lifespan and how long it went on for. It's absolutely crazy. So these two special episodes are happening because as this is released and the next episode is released, I'm in Portugal.
Indeed you are.
So we're doing
having
this
a lovely, having a jolly on your holes.
So when we come back a couple of weeks' time, we'll have so much to talk about, hopefully.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Hopefully. So, yeah, the reason why we've picked the PlayStation 2 is because it's a console that we both had, roughly around its launch time. It launched in the UK on the 24th of November in the distant future, the year 2000.
That was terrible. I can appreciate it, but that was awful.
That's a Flight of the Conchords joke.
I know it was. That's why it was awful.
Yes. So it launched on the 24th of November in the year 2000 after the massive success of the PlayStation 1 that Sony had
definitely
previously. So we're going to talk about its launch and about kind of what it means to us in this episode a little bit. Now, obviously, the PS2 was launched with a load of launch titles. So I've actually got an article here on IGN that was actually made at the time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the launch titles. I'm going to go through the list and we'll just both tell you if we had them or not. Simple as that. Sound fair?
Yeah.
Here we go. Armored Core 2.
No.
DOA 2 Hardcore.
No.
Dynasty Warriors 2.
Yeah.
You did have that.
I did, yeah. Great game.
ESPN International Track and Field.
No, do I look like I run?
ESPN X Games Snowboarding.
Nope.
Eternal Ring.
No.
I watched something on the internet called a similar thing.
Oh, God.
Evergrace.
Nope.
Fantavision.
Nope.
Sounds like it's promoting a drink.
It's so good, doesn't it? This is going well so far.
Gun Griffin Blaze.
No, but I did see it. I did see a friend play it.
Kessen.
Nope.
Madden NFL 2001.
Do I look like a Yank?
Midnight Club.
No.
Midnight Club I did have.
Did you?
Yes, it's a racing game by Rockstar.
Oh, of course it was.
And it's very good, actually. Well, it's good for the time. MotoGP.
Nope.
Didn't have that one. NHL 2001.
9.
Orphan.
Do you know what? I have a strange recollection. I might have had that, but I think I might have sold it on.
It's a rare thing. It's an Activision RPG. Cue Ball Billiards Master. Ready to Rumble Boxing Round 2. I had the original, but not Round 2.
Okay.
Ridge Racer 5.
No.
Oh, I played it, but I didn't have it at the time. Silent Scope.
Silent Scope.
Mm-hmm.
Which what was that? Was that
Konami? It's a shooter.
Konami. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. But no, I didn't have that.
Smuggler's Run.
Nope.
SSX.
No.
I did like SSX actually. Street Fighter EX3.
Yes, I did.
Summoner.
Yes, I did.
Seeing Away.
Nope.
Swing Away.
Swing Away.
Oh, you've got the list there too, have you?
Yeah.
Just up my embarrassment there. Tekken Tag Tournament.
I had that.
Time Splitters.
Yes,
we
had,
both had that one.
I had all of them, I think, actually.
Oh my goodness. Why hasn't that series been revived? Do you know one of the reasons why? They finished at 2, didn't they? They didn't do a third.
I don't think they did.
Do you know one of the silly reasons it was cancelled?
Why?
They couldn't find a cover. They couldn't find a character to put on the box art.
Oh, what a load of crap!
As a video that Larry Bundy Jr. did. Check him out on YouTube. You'll it's in this video. It's like 5 games cancelled for stupid reasons. You can watch about more about that. Unreal Tournament, which is
Unreal Tournament
come to be a massive thing, and
no, I didn't have that.
Wild Racing.
No.
X Squad.
No.
So those were the launch titles. Now I couldn't find the UK launch titles, but those were the North American launch titles. It actually launched a little bit later, about a month later in the UK. So there were a couple of more games added to the roster.
Of course.
But that was the launch lineup. Now, obviously, we can't talk about the PlayStation 2 without touching upon the PlayStation 1. We both had that too.
Indeed, we did. And which one did you have? Did you have a PlayStation 1 original, like the big boxy thing?
Yeah, that's what
Or did you have the PlayStation 1 Slim?
The PS1.
I had the PlayStation 1 Slim.
Oh, did you?
Yes, indeed. And do you know
You must have
why?
been late to the party.
Mate, I was incredibly late to the party, more's the pity. But do you know why?
Yeah, go on.
Because actually, at the time when it was released, it was actually cheaper than buying a full PlayStation 1.
Yeah, and it's exactly the same, really. Yeah. I do have one now, actually. I bought it as a job lot. It was broken, and I bought it and I fixed it up, and I've got a PS1.
Mate.
But yeah, the PlayStation 2 for me, I need to tell you about my PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
I still have it.
Of course.
It still works.
Good.
It's black. It's the original black one.
Ooh.
But it's covered in blue, like, stickers. Not even like... These are the days before vinyl wraps.
Yeah.
So mine's, like, covered in blue, sparkly stickers. And I love this thing. I played it so much. But I didn't have it at launch.
Oh, really?
Enough. No, I had to wait a little while. So when did you... get one? Did you get one at launch?
No, I didn't get one at launch, strangely enough. However, I remember my cousin Ryan did, because I specifically remember a conversation that my mother and father were both having, because it was just before Christmas.
Yeah.
And they were reading, because it used to be a common thing that we'd go around my gran's, and everyone would get each other's Christmas lists and stuff, and we'd all pitch in and stuff. And I remember specifically my cousin Ryan's list had PlayStation 1 on it, and I remember my dad going, well, how much is one of them? Why should I pitch in for that? And I after he got it, because he did, I can see why he asked for one, because for me the PlayStation 1 was kind of, for me, the apex of where my gaming my love for gaming started.
That was the beginning for you.
That was yeah, very much so, because unfortunately I hadn't had any other games consoles at this point.
You know, the funny thing for me is, I wouldn't say it's obviously not where it started for me. It started for me with the Sega Master System,
which we'll probably do a special on at some point.
Yeah, if you're prepared to listen to me waffle on about it.
Yeah, of course.
There's a sad story behind the Sega Master System for me. Well, it's not a sad story, but it's a story of how me and my family have come on, both financially and all that sort of stuff, because we actually got, and this isn't a special on the Sega Master System, so I'll be brief. We got a Sega Master System as a hand-me-down for mine and my sister's joint Christmas present. Yeah. And at this point, it was already 10 years old. So that goes to show, you know, how my parents were doing back in the day. And then the PS1 happened, and I was obsessed with Gran Turismo, and I have been ever since, and that will continue on in this.
Well, this is the thing, 'cause I mean, as I didn't actually answer your question, did I?
No, not really.
The PlayStation 1. I didn't get it at
what
launch.
The question was myself.
I think I must have got it 2-3 years afterwards, when the Slim was actually released.
I believe I got mine in 2001. I must have got it in 2001.
That sounds right to me, actually, because I remember my first game for the PlayStation 1 was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Was it?
That was my very first game. And I remember I would be sat in the dining room, on the TV, just watching on the little box TV, playing it as I did, using the composite lead and everything. I would get back in the good old day. Yeah. And I remember I'd be sat there for hours trying to get past the same bloody level, because as much as I love the PlayStation 1, it was clunky.
You know, the thing about the PlayStation 1, when you look back on it now, early 3D, just as a rule, hasn't aged brilliantly.
No, well, yeah.
One of the only exceptions I can say to that is Super Mario 64, which still plays really nicely. Oh, yeah. Crash Bandicoot looks rough around the edges, but still functions.
Like, it still works really well.
That's why we got a remake, you know,
100%.
to fix that. I must have got one Christmas 2001, I think.
I think I must have had one around the same time. Honestly, I'm not sure. Might have been a couple of years later.
It's difficult to remember, isn't it?
Do you know what? Going back that far, it's difficult for me to remember.
We're talking 16 years ago, man. It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what were your first games? Like, what do you remember getting with the console?
What, as in PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2?
PS2.
PS2. Well, I remember when I first got it, and because it was, again, Christmas Day, because game consoles used to be released just before Christmas, didn't they? Really?
Yeah, I mean, they largely are.
They still are,
with the exception of the Switch. Yeah, I would say the Switch and the Dreamcast, although the Dreamcast was September, so
yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of in the circle.
Later on in the UK, so
in the circle
just before.
Yeah, in the circle of Christmas, as T-Dog would say.
In the sphere.
And in the sphere. And I remember getting it and waking up Christmas Day going, this is incredible. And the first two games that I received was Lord of the Rings, Return of the King.
Yeah.
and Need for Speed Underground.
Need for Speed Underground.
My first driving game. Because anyone who's listened to the podcast before knows my, not disdain, but my inability to play racing games very well, so I get very fed up with them.
Yeah.
But I remember that one game. That one game was one that I adored.
I think Need for Speed Underground, was a bit later on. So you might have got yours in like 2002, because I remember...
I must have done, yeah.
I remember getting it when it was new, and at that point I already had a PS2. It's very difficult to remember. Yeah, it's very fuzzy.
It is very
fuzzy. I do remember getting Need for Speed Underground.
Maybe I'm just old, mate. Maybe I'm just old.
Can't remember. So what else do you remember getting with it?
Obviously, I remember getting... Actually, I got a third game with it as well.
Yeah.
The iToy game. With the camera, and I remember that specifically because I remember setting it up in the dining room again because I didn't have a TV in my room at that point.
Yeah,
and I honestly do just remember doing all the stupid movements that you had to do. I remember that on that game especially was my
windows.
Well, yeah. I remember the specific game that I liked from that one in particular was, I believe, the ninja one where you had to bash off all the ninjas from the towers that jump at you.
I was on holiday.
Oh, right.
Let's talk about the iToy for a second, because it's not on the running order, and it really should be. Because, they connected before Connect.
Yes, indeed, they did.
So, I was on holiday in Ibiza.
Yes.
Okay, young me.
Young you.
Yeah, young me.
Party you.
And this is back in the day where you'd have a little internet kiosk.
Yes.
Every day. I'd put in, 25 pesetas, whatever it was, and I'd have, 20 minutes on this thing. And I would look at the iToy website every day.
Why?
I was obsessed with the thing. I really wanted it. And then what happened was we got home and I said to my Mum, can you go into Woolworths?
Okay.
On your lunch break, grab one for me. And then it just so happens that my friend Ben is swinging by you because he's at school. Basically, my mum worked in the school where my friend was. Can you buy it, give it to him, and then when he comes home from school, he'll give it to me?
Okay.
You know what the bastard did? He got home and went, look, I've got one of these. It's great, isn't it? And it was winding me up, and I was like, what? I thought my mum was supposed to give you... It was supposed to give you you one for me. He goes, no, she didn't give me one. The bastard had my one, didn't he? But yes, that was in retrospect very funny because I got very wound up about it.
Yeah.
But really cool. I do remember being very, very excited for the iToy. When did the iToy come out? You've got the better Google machine.
I do at the moment, currently. Yes.
Find out if
I'll find out when the iToy came out.
But I remember being very excited for it, and I'll talk about my first games. I had Gran Turismo 3. For this device, which I'll talk about in detail later on. And do you know what? I don't remember the others very well.
No.
But what I do remember, and this is another Woolworths story. This is how important Woolworths was to my childhood. So my dad goes, a few months later, I'd done well in an exam or something. And he goes, let's take you to Woolies and get you a game.
As the standard used to be.
And I was like, brilliant. Yeah, sure. So enter Woolworths. And instead of getting one game, I decided by this point there are a few that are discounted.
Yeah.
So I was able to get 4 games for the price of one. And I got these games, and one of them was Shox, SHOX. It was a racing game.
I remember that one, yeah.
Oh my God, that game was sublime. Not as good as Gran Turismo, but you got to remember, I love racing games.
Yes,
so
you do, very much so.
And even, I'll talk about it later as well, Ford Racing.
Yeah. I remember that one.
An amazing game, and it was £15 when it came out.
Blimey.
And back then,
that was a lot.
No, it wasn't a lot, because back then games were £30 or they didn't exist.
Yeah.
So for a game to come out at £15, obviously we knew it was subsidised by Ford, but it was a bloody good racing game.
Oh yeah.
So it was okay.
Well, do you know what? That's the thing. Just diving back for a second, just found out when the iToy was released.
Yeah, go on.
2003.
Wow. Okay.
In Europe on July 4th, as it happens.
Right.
And then in North America, November 4th, which is quite funny.
They had a delay. They had one of the first times we ever got a gap for them. I'll tell you why, though. The game was developed by
I can tell you, SCE. SCE's
Liverpool.
Japanese and American branches after the successful showing at the PlayStation Experience.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I thought it was a Liverpool thing.
No, apparently not.
Well, I reckon the second one probably was.
Could have been.
But yeah, fascinating. I love the iToy.
Oh, yeah.
And I still, you know what? I haven't cracked it out in a very long time. I must get the iToy out of the cupboard and have a go.
Okay.
I can't. I must do. I've got like 3 of them.
Do you know what? It's a bit like having an old dance mat for the PlayStation 2 as well, isn't it?
I've got a pair of them.
I know you do, which is hilarious. And again, future series.
They actually live a very long way away. They live at my parents' house.
Oh, no.
I have room for them. Like, they're just dance mats.
I know.
I bought them for 99p.
That's impressive.
Both of them from Game Station.
Yeah.
God, this is just like a blast of the past. The things that are dead.
Isn't it? But
yeah.
But that's the thing as well, because obviously, as it may have been touched upon before, the PlayStation 2, as much as we loved it, did actually end up killing the Dreamcast, didn't it?
It did. And again, maybe this is special for the future when we talk about the Dreamcast. We just have to go on loads of holidays, won't I?
Definitely.
So the Sega Dreamcast, I never had one as a kid. I've got one now.
Yeah.
But I remember playing it with a friend of mine, a guy called Jack, and he brought it around to my nan's house. I used to go to my nan's house after school.
Yeah.
And he brought it around. We played Ready to Rumble boxing, and we played Virtua Tennis. Now, Virtua Tennis is a game that I still love to this day.
It is indeed.
And I will smash the shit out of anybody. Anybody can come to me, and I will kick their ass at Virtua Tennis right here, right now. I could do it now. And Hannah's very, very good at it.
Hannah is very. Do you know what?
Hannah's probably one of the only people that beat me at it.
Hannah, that's the thing. I think it's fair to say she enjoys her games. She does.
Yes.
But she's not a gamer.
She's not the core.
No, she's not kind of, every day, all day, every day. But when it comes to sports games, I've never met anyone more competitive and determined to win.
She'll destroy me.
She destroys everyone. She destroys everyone when it comes to sports games, honestly.
But anyway, let's talk about the Dreamcast, because the Dreamcast came out. Sega were at this point on their knees, so they decided to release the Dreamcast before the PlayStation 2. What happened was a lot of gamers held out. They went, you know what, the PlayStation 2 is coming, and Sony did a great job of hyping that. Making us excited about it. They did a great job of building us up to it. So a lot of gamers, including myself, didn't go for the Dreamcast. We waited. We waited for the PlayStation 2, and that is a shame. And then when the PlayStation 2 came out, I mean, it was just the Dreamcast was just desecrated, absolutely desecrated. Yeah. And what you got to remember as well is that the reason this thing was so popular was because it had a DVD drive. And back then, it was huge. It was
a big thing.
Huge. Having a DVD drive was like... I mean, what was your first DVD player? The PlayStation 2, almost certainly.
100%. It's the only...
Everybody.
Honestly, it was actually... I think it actually was the only DVD player we've ever had. Until later consoles came along. And I'll tell you, that was the main one.
I'll tell you now, it is still... to my mind, the best DVD player you can buy.
Oh yeah, it's never let me down. That's
the remote for it's brilliant as well.
That's one thing with the PlayStation 2. That console never broke.
No,
not on me.
Although in Japan, in the early days of its launch, they were having problems distributing this thing.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, they had massive issues distributing it, and they had massive issues with faulty parts and stuff. So by the time it came to Europe, we didn't see any of that because all those issues were fixed, and also the internet wasn't as big as it is now.
Yeah.
So we never knew. We never found out. But in Japan, they had major problems with it. It had a bit of a botched launch in Japan. And also, the Christmas it was released in North America, there just wasn't enough of them. No. So we never heard of these problems at the time.
No, I until you've just mentioned it.
It actually gave the Dreamcast a bit longer. But it wasn't enough.
Well,
it wasn't enough. People just held out. Yeah. And piracy as well had a massive part to play. Yeah. I mean, a Dreamcast, a European Dreamcast, I can go online, get the ISO, put it on a disc using a special piece of software, and then boom, I have the game. I just pop it in and it runs. Oh. Now, for a North American Dreamcast, you need to use a special disc, but that disc is very easily accessible online. You download it, burn it to the CD, pop it in the Dreamcast, and then it's done. Yeah,
insane.
It's crazy, isn't it? But I think
internet.
It's one of the things that killed the Dreamcast, as well as PS2.
Just speaking of the internet, do you know what I saw today? Just diverting away ever so slightly. I found.
Excuse me.
I just wasn't expecting
Can't breathe, T.
yeah, do you know what myself and T-Dog found today?
Oh, yeah, go on.
We found Google.
Oh, the headquarters of Google.
Yeah, we found the headquarters of Google.
So they've been in the same place for years, mate. Google.com.
No, it just made me laugh because we were just talking about the internet, and obviously I was stood outside Google headquarters, and do you know what? Some of the people are being really funny, I think, because on 4 of the windows, I think they've got the IP address because they've just got 8.8.8.8.
That's pretty funny.
And people have made these out of sticky notes in their offices.
That's pretty funny.
Which is pretty funny. But yeah, no, I honestly do think that if anything, the internet contributed possibly to a huge amount of why the Dreamcast kind of died.
And maybe
it did die.
Maybe we'll do more on that in the future.
Definitely.
But
it's a massive shame because it was a good console.
It was a good console, but it wasn't as good as the PS2. And the truth be told, I at that point, I think it's clear. It's fair to say at this point that back when that was happening, it looked like Sega might pull through. But when you look at it in retrospect, there were so many problems. Yeah. Because the Saturn was just a disappointment. Although it was a great console, it was just badly managed, badly dealt with on Sega's part, and part of that was the Americans getting rid of a guy called Tom Kalinske, who I'm actually listening to an audiobook that's called Console Wars, and they talk about this a little bit. They got rid of Tom Kalinske. They rushed the launch in North America, which meant that no one was making games for it, which had a knock-on effect to Europe as well, because Japan were doing okay with the Saturn. Japan liked the Saturn because they were getting Japanese games, but
because they love Sega.
When it came to, not as much as you'd think, they're more Nintendo people. But when it comes to then the UK and Europe, well, we actually at that point had grown to like American developed games, and there just weren't any. So by that time, the Dreamcast had a lot of work to do. EA were fed up with its architecture being difficult to program for, so EA were out the picture, and Sega had to do its own sports games. They did a great job, by the way.
Oh yeah,
but it wasn't enough, and it doomed the Dreamcast. A series of mistakes, and I don't know if you can blame that entirely on the PS2, but I'm sure it didn't help.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Let's talk about special editions of the console.
Yeah.
Little did I know, but as a boy, I browsed the Sony website.
Yes.
They actually still have a page on the PS2. I browsed the PlayStation website, and it turns out the PlayStation 2 was available in pretty much any colour you wanted.
Oh, really?
Blue, yellow, red, green. Yeah. They were like more for the Japanese market.
Yeah.
Because they love a special edition.
Of course they do.
But the one we did get over here was the silver.
Oh, yes.
And that's what my sister had.
Was it?
Yes, my sister got a silver one. And I have it.
Ooh.
She didn't want any more.
Well, that's fair.
But yeah, that was really cool. I thought it was really nice that they brought out a silver one. And then as time went on, as has happened since, let's be honest, the PS2 was the first one to do it, was to come up with a slimline version.
Yep.
If I'm wrong, I'm not sure I am. I know they've done like actually the Atari 2600 is probably the first. Ignore me, I'm a fool. And then the NES in America obviously did it, but it wasn't a common practice. Now it happens with every console, every iteration.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Switch Slim at some point.
Yeah,
right?
It's just like a stick, like one of those old MP3 sticks. That made me giggle.
Yeah, I remember my first MP3 player. I must have got it around the same time. £150, 128 meg.
Nah,
Sony.
I didn't get anything like that. Do you know what? I still had a Walkman until
a CD Walkman.
A CD Walkman until I was like the age of 14.
Wow.
Yeah, mate, it lasted me forever.
I remember when you used to take a load of CDs with you on a trip. I had an Alba, a green Alba CD player. It was beautiful, really. Misguided, but beautiful.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, and then there was the PS2 Slim, and I've got one, but I never had one at the time.
No.
But it was great because by that point a lot of really heavily used PS2s were dying, so having a PS2 Slim come out was ideal. Did you have much experience with that one? I know that came with the built-in Ethernet, didn't it, for online play?
But do you know what?
Which is something that I never touched on.
No. Well, this is the thing. I've only ever had the original PlayStation 2, and I've loved it. All my life. All my life. Because it was just a good console. And it never let me down. But obviously I'm fully aware that the Slim actually had some heating problems, didn't it?
It did. And that's kind of not talked about very often because they fixed it quickly.
Yeah. I think they wanted to try and keep it as quiet and as lowbrow as possible with it.
Yes, absolutely.
But this is the thing, isn't it? You're going to get that with consoles that have different iterations of itself. And as you said before, obviously, looking at PlayStation 2 and stuff, they did a lot of things with that.
Yeah.
Like special brands, obviously you see that now, even with, for instance, the PlayStation 4 has the PlayStation 1 special edition, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was the 20th anniversary.
Which is cool.
I've got the controller for that, actually. The controller is very cool. You know, on the touchpad, it's got the little dots.
Yeah.
This one's got XO square triangle instead of that. It's really cool. Anyway, back to the PS2. We've got about 5 minutes left on this episode. There'll be another one next week. I'm sorry these are shorter, but we're having to get these done in a limited time frame. So limited edition consoles. Now, just before, because obviously in the next episode we're going to talk about the games that we had and our memories of it and its death. So before we talk about its death, let's talk a little bit more about its life. What for you is one of the standout memories of the PS2? Because for me, what happened is we had a DVD of The Office.
Oh, okay.
And it came in the paper. It was like a free DVD.
Yeah.
And my parents held on to it for some reason. They didn't have a DVD player. So when this PS2 arrived, I took that DVD of The Office, ran upstairs, played it, and The Office isn't for me. Well, it wasn't anyway. It is now. Obviously, I understand it. But I was amazed. I was watching video that wasn't having to be rewound. It wasn't having to be all that. And that's outside the games. The PS2, I played Ratchet and Clank a couple of years ago before the remaster, and I was staggered at how good it still looks. And you got to remember as well, this thing with a lot of the games, including Gran Turismo 4, you could hook it up to component. This thing would do 720p gaming or something like that.
Yeah, mate.
That's nuts.
It is mental. Do you know what? I think my first standout moment for me with the PlayStation 2, actually, I think, because I'm anyone who does know me knows I'm a bit of a geek. Well, not geek, nerd.
I was going to go
knob. And I remember one of the games that I ended up getting somewhere down the line was a Star Trek game.
Oh, right.
Because I've always liked the idea of spaceships and stuff. But I remember playing it, and I remember playing it when I was ill. And then I remember my mum coming in, taking up the second controller, and joining in. That's one of my standout memories for the PlayStation 2.
We've got a couple of minutes left. Let's talk about accessories.
Yeah, other than the iToy camera.
So the DualShock 2 is the same as the DualShock 1. There's very little to be said about it. It was just what it is. We all know it now. We're all familiar with it. Other than that, obviously we had the crappy third-party ones. I had a Mad Catz wireless controller.
Oh, dear.
That thing was the boy, actually, because where my room used to be in my house, I was able to swivel my TV around my little 15-inch Alba. I had a lot of Alba in my house. My family were obviously a big Argos family.
Obviously.
Swung my TV around, and I sat and did something for the first time that I've continued to this day. I sat and had a shit whilst playing a Gran Turismo endurance race. I was able to carry on the race, one of the endurance races. I think it was the one where you get the F1 car.
Okay.
Having a shit.
That's quite funny.
This thing was amazing. This thing, and then there was also the broadband adapter.
Oh yes, there was.
Now I got a PS2 Slim just before they shut down the broadband service, and didn't have time to have a go before it shut down.
That's awful, mate.
I wish I'd have had time.
Well, do you know what? One of the accessories that I got?
Yeah, go on.
I got it actually when I got my PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
It was the multi-console use.
Oh.
Multi-console use, steering wheel and foot pedals.
I had them for the PS1.
I've got them for the PS2 and they're currently upstairs sat in my wardrobe.
Oh, you still got them?
Oh yeah, still got them, mate.
Still work?
Oh yeah, still work 100% and they still work really well.
Maybe a Challenge Chris video next time. It's going to be the PS2. How am I going to capture that? I'm not sure.
We'll find out. We'll find a way.
Anyway, in the next episode, we are going to talk about Gran Turismo 3 and 4, Ratchet and Clank, From Russia with Love, Burnout Takedown, love that game.
Yes.
Ford Racing, Lord of the Rings, Tomb Raider, Angel of Darkness, and how much of a disappointment it was. And Simpsons Hit and Run. We're also going to talk about the launch of the PS3 and how the PS2 managed to live on somehow, and its popularity in Brazil. The last PS2 game, And when did you put it away? That's all going to be coming up in the next part, which will be released next week. Sorry again for the short episodes. Hopefully at this point, I'm getting drunk in the sun. Well, that's it from us this week. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Ta-ta.